Foundation of Linguistic Phonology and Morphology, the member of Group 3.
Introduction to Phonology and Morphology. Phonology is the study of how sounds are organized and used in languages. It's not just about the sounds we hear, but also how our brains process them. Morphology focuses on the structure of words, how they are built from smaller parts called morphemes, like roots and prefixes.
Okay, the next material is phonemes and allophones. A phoneme is the smallest sound unit that can change the meaning of a word. For example, in English, the difference between pill and spill is in the sound of the p. Allophones are variations of a phoneme that don't change the word's meaning. For instance, p in pill is aspirated, has a path of air, but p in spill is not. Okay, the next is syllable and stress. Syllable is basic unit of pronunciation, usually with a vowel sound. For example, appear has two syllables, appear, appear. Stress emphasize on a syllable which can change word meaning or pronunciation. For example, present, present yang artinya hadiah versus present, present yang artinya mempersembahkan.
Phonology stress pattern affect how sounds, phonemes are pronounced, influencing actions. 3. Phonological rules and sound distribution. Languages have rules about where different sounds are used. For example, in English, the p sound is aspirated when it's at the start of a stressed syllable, like in pill but not in spill. Native speakers automatically follow these rules when speaking even if they aren't aware of them.
Cross-linguistic different in phonology. Different languages have different sound system. In English, p with or without aspiration doesn't change meaning, but in language like Thai, it can. Even within the same language, accent or dialect can have different sound patterns. For example, in some English dialects, Mary, Mary, and Mary are pronounced differently, while in other, they sound the same.
Phonotactics, sound sequences and cluster. Phonotactics refers to the rules about how sound can be combined in a language. For example, some languages don't allow many consonants together, where English allows cluster like in string. Different languages handle this combination differently. For instance, in Spanish, you can start a word with a followed by a consonant, so school becomes escuela.
Phonological awareness in children. Children naturally develop a complex system of sounds for their language without being formally taught. They learn these sound patterns early on. As a teacher, it's important to understand that children already have knowledge when they come to school. Your job is to help them connect their spoken language with the written form.
Okay, the next material. Knowing about phonology helps teachers understand pronunciation difference in students who speak different languages or dialects. Teacher can use this knowledge to help students improve their pronunciation and spelling in the target language, especially for second language learners.
Introduction to Morphology. Definition: Morphology studies how words are formed from smaller units of meaning called morphemes. Key points: morphemes are like building blocks for words. Some words cannot be broken down further. Example, dog, while others can. Example, dogs with dog and says separate parts.
Types of morphemes. Free morphemes. These morphemes can stand alone as words. For example, cat, house. Bond morphemes. These must attach to other morphemes to convey meaning. For example, the S in cats. Example, in word unhappy, un is a prefix. Bond morphemes. Unhappy is a root. Free morphemes.
Okay guys, the next material is allomorphs and assimilation. Allomorph is variation of the same morpheme that change based on sound. For example, in becomes im. before bilabial sounds like in impossible versus indecent. Next is assimilation. Assimilation is when sounds change to become more similar to neighboring sounds. For example, in plurals, we say cats with s, but ducks with s, because the last sound of the root word affects the suffix.
Dissimilation and ephenthesis. Dissimilation, changing one sound to make it different from a neighboring sound. Example, cellular use R instead of all to avoid two similar sounds. Ephenthesis, adding an extra sound to make a word easier to pronounce. Example, plural like males become messes, where a vowel is added before the S.
Next material is metathesis and other sounds adjustment. Metathesis, reversing the order of two sounds to make pronunciation easier. Example, in Korean, the sounds in talgizo are reversed for easier pronunciation. For other example, the word cupboard is pronounced without the P sound, cupboard, even though it is written.
Compound and affixes. Compound, words that are formed from two roots, like software, soft plus ware. Affixes, prefixes and suffixes added to root to modify meaning. For example, the word uneventful has un, prefix, even, root, and full suffix.
Vocabulary variation. Depending on profession or interest, people use specialized morphemes, e.g., medical terms, legal jargon, sport language. K. Takeaway. Learning morphemes help us understand and create new words easily by combining smaller units of meaning.
So, in conclusion, phonology and morphology are connected because they both deal with how language is structured. Phonology focuses on sounds and how they are used in language, but morphology looks at how words are built from smaller parts, called morphemes, like prefix, suffix, and roots. In short, phonology deals with sounds and morphology deals with word structure, but they work together to form meaningful language.
Thank you for watching, guys. Any question?